Hello and welcome once again, or twice again maybe, to Wandering Monster, America's Test Table, where we don't play test games, we stress test each other's limits. And my mute button. My name is John Baldisberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
I'm Bridget Brave.
Ian Servas.
Mr. Paschke.
Friends, there's this thing you can do. I don't know if you're aware, but we live in a society.
I've heard
Now,
that.
In this society, there's this service called the Postal Service. Now, the five of us live within the so-called United States of America, where we have the United States Postal Service. And I just want to show and tell. This week alone, mind you, I got the 40 Fiends Morkborg Bestiary. I got from my good friend Christian Eichhorn, Gutter Punks for Cyborg. I got Bergen Crypt by Christian Eichhorn for Morkborg. I got the Manishtana book, which we played here on this stream. Not this Passover, but last Passover when I was drunk that night as well. I got the Pan, His Majesty in Yellow book, which is gorgeous. Thank you,
yeah.
Wayne Roberts. I've been reading this. It is amazing. Friends, my copy of Whispers of the Dead Saint arrived. I'm so happy. It's so beautiful. Hey, if you didn't kickstart it, you can still pick it up. So, there you go. But something I wasn't expecting arrived at my door this week.
A baby boy.
Hell Knight.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now, you may remember Hell Knight. Hell Knight was my staff pick last year for Game of the Year. It's by a guy named Gavriel Hiroga.
I think I've heard of him.
Gavi Q is what his name is. And
Gavriel Hiroga.
after he hears this episode, we will no longer be friends. Man, this is a beautiful book, and it's just a beautiful assault on the eyes looking into it. We've played a lot of his games at this point. We played Hell Knight, we played Warplands, and we're going to do more. We're going to do more tonight. You see, my friends, tonight we delve into, I'm going to call it post-Cyberpunk. It's Cyberpunk, but you haven't dusted the fans in the computer for a while. It's Cyberpunk, but the RAM is running low. It's Cyberpunk, and yet some other computer term. Friends,
It's Orwell punk.
it's
I like that.
Cyber Orwell. Tonight we are playing Neurocity from Gavriel. Thank you, Gavriel, for lending us your amazing game design talents once again for us to delve into. We are all excited about it. And brother Ian, take it away.
Absolutely. So, if you haven't already gotten a copy of this fantastic book, it is currently being kickstarted in the colorblind edition, which adds in more art and expands it more and gives it just a nice facelift. Because, as John's saying, the future is nothing but a slow, gradual decay. And so take the promise of technology and abandon it, for the society in Neurocity is built on recycled tech. Everything is recycled. The people are recycled, kind of trapped in an endless loop of being stuck as slaves to a giant, uncaring computer that is just perpetuating all of our existence to make the system just exist in perpetuity. So we're all playing as drones, or at least some functionaries in one way or another, keeping the great machine functioning. So you're all loyal citizens to the city and to Isaac, the computer that runs everything. So this game has a lot of fantastic, rich lore that really draws on real-world dystopian things that we are going through right now, and it magnifies it in terrifying, bleak ways. So to kind of give this in a nutshell, the city itself, the population is static because people are recycled. If you die and you were a good citizen, then you are renewed. You are reborn into a new clone of yourself with all of your memories. If you were a bad citizen, or if you were a rebel, or worse, if you were worthless to this system, then you are renewed. But that's an important function as the system is beginning to break down, because everything is just still being maintained and is starting to break down. But with that, let's introduce our, I would say, colorful cast of characters, but everything is very much in shades of monochromatic whites and grays. But for that, we are going to need a sacrificial victim to throw themselves upon the gears of the machine.
Sir,
Goes.
I will not have you speak ill of our society anymore. I am Sebastian Marquez, Cardinal at the Ministry of Truth, where we circumvent liars like you and allow people to know how good they have it. My axiom is we all must endure sacrifices. I am a grey fellow, both my hair and my robes, and thin, poorly slept, and a high-ranking fellow with very little to worry about.
In this system, everyone falls into one of the castes that the computer has made for society, and Sebastian here is a cardinal, member of the beta class that is almost in the upper echelons, that helps to run the giants, the largest of all the gears, the ministries that deal with technology, propaganda, or the life-perpetuating system that keeps us all going, or peace and order.
Top 15th percentile, my good man.
Living high on the hog.
All right. Well, I'll go next. I'm Dolores, and I mean, you probably know me. I'm kind of a TV personality. I am a television journalist. Yes, you're welcome for meeting me. I know it's very exciting. I live here. I love living here. I'm having a great time with my life. I do have a car, so that's pretty cool. I know not everybody has one these days. And this, don't worry about this. This is just my yog. I keep it with me. It's medicinal, largely.
All right. My name is Ulysses Fenris Marks. I'm an enforcer. I don't like doing these things, don't really enjoy coming out of my shell talking to people, but I was renewed, or they meant to renew me. I don't know what went wrong, but yeah, I remember fucking everything. So whatever happened, here I am. I'm an enforcer, have some trust, but I don't know if that trust goes both ways.
Well, that leaves me. All right. So we've all seen the movie Brazil, right? If you haven't, you have failed. I'm sorry, but you did. So Robert De Niro's character, and I don't know, like James Wall's character name that I'm playing, I don't think I can do a good De Niro. I don't think anyone would pick up that that's what I was trying to do. So I'm just going to lay it out there right now, because
I think you should try it.
You know, this is about it. You know, so I'm playing Heck Runner. He's part of the Gamma, and has a thing for smoking cigarettes, wearing a gray bomber jacket. You know, carries a magazine about North Sentinel Island with him. Well, let's not talk about that too much. I hope that made sense.
So, the lot of you are what is known as a white cell. It's what Isaac puts together to combat a problem. And so actually one of the strangest members of your white cell is Dolores, because Dolores is a citizen that's not normally involved with these things, but You are a vector, or basically a citizen that was personally tapped by Isaac for your skills and how it may help with accomplishing the mission that all of you are going to be assigned. And for the people who are wondering what Isaac stands for, that's the Intelligent Singular Artificial Consciousness. As a fun thing, there are lots of great tables in this book. In fact, there's one to designate the kind of main or the personality of Isaac. So I am fortunate that we rolled a real fun one for this evening. The personality of Isaac for this system speaks basically very cryptically through old movie clips that are brought up from the depths of the archives, like old black and white reels.
There's a word for that type of personality that I really love, and I rarely get to use it. Gnomic. It's a gnomic personality.
I like that. That is,
Yeah.
we will call it that. That's a little more picturesque than just the cinematique. But yes, speaks through the historical archives. So all of you are summoned into one of the Ministries of Truth's buildings, where Sebastian, you already hold your headquarters in, and you are given a briefing. And actually, if since you brought up Gnomic, if you were fine with putting the scene into movie clips, the mission that you were given to Isaac is that there is a old military installation located in the Halo, which is the rad zones outside of Limbo, the wastelands that surround the city, called the Temple, that the authorities have picked up on. You have to enter the Halo and reveal if there's any truth to there being some type of ancient technology, either of great destructive or of great energy producing significance in this building.
Point of order. I would
Yes.
argue that most weapons produce a hell of a lot of energy.
That is true. One of the issues that is facing the city is rolling blackouts, because the technology that you have been using, you have a very fragile energy grid, and in fact, there's an energy crisis. Where
Are we in Texas?
Actually, we're in America, because our energy grid is dangerously unprotected and not sufficient, and it's going to be a huge problem very soon, as we saw earlier this year when one of our power stations just got shot up by a passerby and took out the grid for a big long time. So yeah, so this is the future. But so you're going to be going out into the most inhospitable place known to society and going through ancient ruins to find out if there is something that could be dangerous to the city or might help save the city. So what type of archival movie clips might represent parts of that Sebastian had to interpret into this mission order?
Well, part of it were like old sort of like wartime propaganda footage of like, come to the draft board, come, you're needed. And that's how I knew that the summons was there. And then for, beyond the rad zone, there were some clips from this old film. I think it had something to do with Thunder Ball, Thunder Dome, something like that. I think there was, old movie. I'd never heard of it, but yeah. And then for the temple, of course, there was the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, a lovely performance on Christmas Day, 1984.
I'm going to be taking the rest of the show off as I sing the theme from Thunderball over and over in my head. Just. And
the lead actor's name in that film was
Stacey Abrams.
James Caan. And James is the name of our tech runner. So it's all full circle, baby.
It's all connected.
So because this is a very dangerous mission, and finding, nuclear technology could be of great importance to the city, you basically have carte blanche to request any type of equipment and supplies you might need. Because not only are you going through Limbo, which is basically populated by Epsilon class, can't even call them citizens because Epsilon caste individuals are denoted as worthless. If you are dead,
Sub-citizenry.
they are, because if you are even dead, you're considered Epsilon. If you are a rebel, such as some of the people that believe in National Geographic's lies against Isaac's wisdom, then you are also classed Epsilon. But in the Halo itself are terrible dangers that most people even know exist. Sebastian would, but the Waxmen, people that have been horribly mutated by the unending harsh energy of the rad wastes.
Malcontents related.
And the terrible beasts therein. So you also, in addition to anything you might want to requisition, you get a pair of scarabs, which are basically armored vehicles, like little tankettes that can house like 3-ish people, and motorcycles.
Ooh.
So if you want to even requisition special armor and weapons, you can, or you can choose to pack light with the things that you already have on your character sheets.
Oh, hell no. I'm going to want some weapons big time.
I would like some body armor and a shotgun.
I am glad you said that because there are shotguns in this.
I'll take the same, yeah.
Just
So,
the body armor.
Citizens don't get the pleasure of owning weapons. Only enforcers get weapons, and only enforcers and people that are in white cells basically have access to the higher up firearms. You actually have to get a license that is timed to wield these. So if you would like and I am so excited to this weapon is coming to play, an Asimov tactical shotgun, you got it, buddy.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I am also an enforcer, so
I just like Asimov was my personal hero growing up as a kid, so I'm just like, I just love there's an Asimov tactical shotgun.
I'm reading Foundation for the first time this series.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We need to talk offline because
We just start a whole chat.
I read all the 13 books leading up to Foundation because there are a lot of prequels. Such a great series.
Small different sidebar. My aunt works for Nat Geo.
That is fantastic. You'll have to tell her because knowledge is dangerous, especially of the natural, all of that, anything that's not. So it's a perfect, Gavriel really kind of hit the nail on the head with that. With the shotgun, at short distance, it gives you a modifier of +1 on your attack roll, and it causes 2 wounds, which is massive. At medium distances, it only gives 1 wounds. Long distance, it doesn't. But we can adjudicate that when we get forward. If somebody wants a shotgun, they're welcome to have it. The other types of weapons that you can have, you can also upgrade to a Sagan Special number 9, a Scorpio machine gun, or a Phelan, which is a light assault rifle.
I'm pretty sure that Sagan would be pissed to have a gun named after him.
That guy was a big old 1 injury.
Okay, all right, because that guy was a big old dope smoking hippie. I loved his ass. Yeah.
It would be great if it was like along just apple pies.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of you, if you would like, you could get yourself, if you want to have armor, you could get a Revok full suit, which gives you, absorbs 3 levels of wounds and covers everything but the head.
Yes.
And all of you can have a helmet as well, which does take 3 wounds, specifically from the head. Because together all that would help to soak some of the rad. So all of you can write that down and get yours up to speed. Any other items that you might want or need that would help you to cross through Limbo and into the rad wastes?
I would like Bridget to describe what our body armor and helmets look like.
So they're not great. Honestly, they're doing nothing for me. They kind of make you look like You know, did you ever see Batman and Robin? It's kind of like that
Oh, yeah.
similar. Like it's doing
Hold
nothing
up.
for my chest area, making my shoulders look very, very broad. It is this.
Does
dull
mine have
gray
nipples?
color.
That's the important
Mm.
question. Doesn't it
Yeah,
have nips?
yeah.
How big is the cod piece? What part of my armor does it match? Does it match the logo on my chest, or does it just blend in? I hope it
Cod
stands out.
pieces all match your weapon
High
because
point in
But
bat
I didn't
suit
take a
design.
weapon.
I've got some news. You're feeling teased right now.
Ian, can I retcon that I have a weapon?
Translucent cod
Hold
piece.
up. Point of order. A reinforced cod piece is actually tactically significant because in the Afghanistan war, that was one of the points of vulnerability for snipers for the U.S.
Oh, that
infantry.
sucks.
I thought you were going to say for this game there was like some kind of cod piece bonus.
Yeah, I was happier not knowing there
No.
was a real life application for that. I just thought it was amusing. Now I can't
The
laugh at it
nips,
quite so hard.
probably not, but the cod piece serves a purpose.
Okay, so I need a gun to
Oh,
match my cod piece.
Right, and the nips also match your gun.
You know, in one thing
Did my
I
nips
liked
match the
about
bullets?
Hate
just one,
you.
one last thing about the Batsuit, and I'll leave it. One thing I liked about Frank Miller's Batman was that his big old yellow bat symbol actually had a purpose. It was like quadruple reinforced bulletproof. The idea being that it naturally drew like
Like the
bullets.
Punisher.
Did the Punisher do that too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. He might have stolen that from the Punisher or
Or
used it on
Punisher
both.
might have stolen it from Frank Miller. I don't fucking know.
I mean,
Batman
I
came
think he wrote
first. I'm gonna
both,
say
but yeah.
Batman did it first.
Yeah, but like I thought that was cool because I'd always thought like so he wears all black like a ninja except for a big ass spot of yellow. Like why?
Because he's the world's greatest detective.
That's right.
Well, he's his own bat signal.
Bat
That's just
signal
love
makes
symbol.
Like
Symbols.
saying "I am" with capital letters. So, any other tactical equipment that you might want to carry in with you?
I will
Oh,
take
we have
a
Or
armored
information that
vehicle,
you would like to
shotgun.
gather from the intranet, which only technically Sebastian would have access to, or any other tech equipment that you might want, James.
Yeah, James. What all like other than what I already have on me? Anything of note in the book that like not a sonic screwdriver, but you know, if there's a sonic screwdriver.
You do have a full toolkit already,
Yeah.
being a tech runner.
Right.
Things that you may or may not want, depending on your personnel and what you think might fit in the scope of the mission. Portable holographic projector,
Ooh,
portable
okay.
mini TV with shortwave radio, telescopic pole, a night vision glasses. I think actually that night vision glasses. None of you have that.
I will gladly take those. If I can.
I'll let him take
A
those.
digital clock with a light and a calculator. Ooh, or a megaphone. I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
Dibs on the telescoping pole. No, I will not be elaborating.
This and more at 8 p.m. Dolores, also tell us about what your journalism is. Are you? So you said you're a broadcaster. What's your show?
So I don't know if you've ever seen these kind of series. A lot of channels do them, but I do them a little bit differently, where someone's been wronged by a business or maybe a contractor or a physician or something of that nature. So I go in
Gephardt is the name of the one on our local station. Yeah, because
see,
his name is Dick Gephardt, the journalist who goes and gets them.
we have 5 on your side here.
Yeah,
I like the fact that you have the show, and then anyone that's shown doing corrupt dealing that's not working with the system is taken and then terminated, vaporized, and then renewed or reborn to show why it's important to be loyal to Isaac and
But
the
that
system.
happens after we bang on their door at 7 a.m. and surprise them in their pajamas with a camera in their face. And
Did Dolores expose me? Is that why I died?
That is a great question. You'll have to tune in at 8 p.m. to find out. Great.
Oh yeah, that's
So-
something. If you reincarnate, you like, do you remember your death, or is that kind of edited out?
So if you are renewed, and so you were a loyal citizen, you died either in the line of duty or naturally, something like that, you get all of your memories back. And so that actually has been very instrumental in dealing with certain types of crimes. If you died a mysterious death, and maybe you even died a mysterious death, Sebastian, and you were reborn and figure out some Epsilon person sniped you from out in the limbo, then that is integral to certain things.
that'd be a hard witness to cross-examine. Are you sure that's the guy who stabbed you in the face? Yep, that's him.
Anything else, or your scarabs would be pulling up momentarily, or if there's any other information that you would like to get from the Ministry of Truth, you are certainly welcome and able to comb through the archives or database to get more information. Otherwise, you can be given.
Died? Can I access that?
So the only person in the group that actually has access to the intranet that would have access to information would be Sebastian. Sebastian, if you'd like to look up the information, you just need to make a techno roll, and you'd be able to get that information.
You know what? I didn't see why not. Let's see. So tech roll. Oh, I bet I beat it. It's under, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I rolled a 4.
That is great.
I did real good.
So you, Sebastian, have died a total of 4 times. And that's including the one time that you jacked up the scarab too far and it slid off and crushed you while you're doing an oil change. Okay.
Were they all self-inflicted accidental deaths?
Sebastian, does that sound about right? Did you just constantly die while doing oil changes? Did you die any other way?
Not Sebastian, but Pashke's guy.
I'm sorry, not Sebastian. Excuse me, John, is what I meant to say.
Okay,
John, you died a total of 4 times, including the one time you dropped. James, oh my gosh, James, John, biblical names. All right. James, you have died 4 times, including the time you dropped the scarab on yourself while changing oil. Did you die any other ways besides during oil changes?
I mean,
Was it always self-inflicted and accidental?
I would like to think it's mostly accidents, except for the times that it was intentional, like when the street urchins got mad at me for not giving them my loose change, and then they all ganged up on me in the alley.
But you had hot oil
Give
on
us
them.
your milk money.
I know. It took 3 days for me to regenerate.
Speaking of which, John and everyone, I was reading a fucking Graham McNeil book today, and he talked about
You
people
love Graham McNeil.
Yeah, he talked about people teaming up to take down a larger opponent as being like rats taking down a drunken stevedore. And I was like, are we
How many
losing a
times have
lot
you
of
seen that happen?
Yeah, are we losing a lot of dock workers to rats?
You know what's frustrating, Charles?
What?
If Danger Smader had written that line, I would be like cheering in the streets.
Yeah.
Did you say Chuck Tingle?
Because Danger Slater would know that it was funny and over the top. And
Exactly.
Graham McNeil just wrote that and was like, awesome.
You think he rubs his chest while he writes?
I think so. Yep.
But like this? Or
No,
like that? Oh,
a lot of oil.
I
oil.
I hope you
is
know that, like, at
involved.
some point, this is going to get back to Games Workshop, and we're going to get Inquisitors knocking on all of our doors.
Hey, Graham, come at me, bro. Dan, I love you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
I'll second
But-
that.
Dan went a little fucking nuts in End in the Death Part 1.
Go to bed, honey.
Yeah. He I think he rolled and smoked an entire thesaurus before he wrote that book.
Who
yeah.
hasn't?
You're not allowed to read any more of my books then, if that's a complaint, Charles.
It's not, but dude, like I read Thomas Ligotti, and even I was like, God damn, Abnet, reel it in. Like, because he does these monologues by Malkador where he's like using 6-syllable occult
Hold
words.
up.
Anyway, yeah.
That is okay. That is within character of Malkador.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're a nerd, that is
Yeah, it
Malkador
is.
through and through.
Yeah,
Second
yeah.
of all, those scarabs have rolled up and
Okay.
your hatches have opened up. If anybody else wants to hop on a motorbike instead of getting into a scarab, you can't. All right, so we have one person for motorbike. All right.
Look at him scared.
I think I'm
The rest
too
of you can
old
fit
and
into a scarab
slender.
then. You just
Yeah,
had one
yeah.
person out. So the
Yeah.
other three of you can fit into a scarab.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. In character, like, I don't know. I wonder if I should insist on driving separately because I do have a luxury vehicle.
Do you really
Yeah.
want to drive your luxury vehicle into limbo? You certainly can.
I mean, I'm wondering if I'm the kind of asshole who would be more worried about my car or about having to ride with like my lessers.
Why don't you roll a personality check and find
That's a good
out?
idea. That's a good idea. You tell me what it means. I'm just gonna roll it. Let's see. That's a 7 total, meaning I have
that-
no personality. Oh, that's right
so
on.
that's-
Yeah.
Right. So you can swallow your pride and
Okay.
get in a scarab, but you're going to insist on driving.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Cool. Let's
All right.
Let's head out then. John, you're gonna be riding alongside in your motorcycle.
Like a little sidecar.
So to begin with, the lot of you are in the center of the white zone, the core of the city. So you're going to be passing through the white zone into the gray zone before you head through limbo and into the halo.
Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. Last second. But I'm
Go
glad
for
I
it.
thought of it. So, hey, one of my contacts is another enforcer. Can I like rope them into the task?
Sure. It's kind of like a hireling.
Yeah. It
You-
says here that the enforcer's name is Jacob Grants, but I think his actual name is Jacob Grants Ham Fund. So I think
Certainly.
I think Enforcer Ham Fund will be riding along with us.
Absolutely. So the fact of anyone getting called personally by a cardinal is big shit. And the fact that you are above him in a class, you can pull rank. So you basically tell him to get his sorry ass on a motorbike unless you're changing out every other people, and they will follow your orders and your orders explicitly. And that is perfectly fine. So you can say that this Mr. Ham Fund would be your squire.
So
Great.
glad Ham Fund is back.
Ham Fund is in us, all of
Yes.
us. Okay, so you pass through the White District as you are going through. We'll just kind of do this as a montage. Each of you tell me what's a slice of what this center of where the upper echelon looks like. One of you give me a slice, and I'm going to have each of you kind of do me as a slice for montage since we have a limited time format and we want to go through this rich and varied city.
All right. Well, I'm most focused on the salons here. They have these high-end spa salons, 6 levels where you can get the cucumber water on the first level. And then by the time you're up at the top, you don't even look like yourself anymore. It's incredible.
Stem cells have a way of doing that.
Well, and the full body immolating exfoliation.
Love it. So you go through this kind of more upscale where the buildings are actually cleaned and things look good, and you start to go into the gray area where you have more labor class people, more the industries, the factories. But it's a little bit of the slice of life as you go through this area.
Is that fellow selling tarantula meat?
It's kind of a delicacy.
I feel like this would be the perfect area because it's not too highbrow. So the like rent for the area is going to be more reasonable. So it could have like a specialty store that could actually sustain itself, where it sells new, used, like old, it's still in box computer equipment, which is now a very high priority. And it's what I would know where that's at because I need to fix things.
Then, as you are passing through the giant marketplace, if you have one handy, James, would you like to roll a d12 to see what happens in this area?
A D12 to find out. 8.
8. You see a woman. A woman is being chased by 1d6 violent drunks. That's 5 drunks. And in the background, you see that there is an enforcer kicking an old man to death on the street. And yeah, there's some tech. Welcome to the gray zone. So all of you are a white cell with formed for one task and one task only, and it's not to help those citizens. So you just continue your motorcade past and through while people kind of look in awe because they know with the social designation that you have that you are on a mission. So if you wanted to, you could just plow your scarab over those accosting drunks if you so choose.
I was going to say that absolutely for sure Fenris kind of slides, like not stopping, just like continue driving next to the sidewalk and sticks out an arm with his pocket knife held, and as he passes gouges the enforcer kicking the old man to death right in the eye socket without slowing.
That's interesting because you are an enforcer, and I want you, son of Fenris, I want you to roll me a violence check because you are on a motorbike, which makes this a little bit challenging.
Petition
for you.
Petition to rename this show 1d6 Violent Drunks.
I like 1d6 Sons of Fenris. Violent Sons of Fenris. What?
I rolled 1 under.
Great. So you just shank this guy right in the neck.
Yep.
I also need you to roll me a tension check. So that is a personality check because you are directly violating your orders as an enforcer by killing another enforcer.
That's true.
That's like the prime directive of cops.
Yeah, well, as I said, I remember not being a cop.
Fair enough.
And
someone in Samsara fucked up because if you were completely if you're completely reborn, your memory should have been scrapped. So something went wrong.
Yeah, that is the what I'm going with is that.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I'm doing the exposition for the viewer who hasn't read the book.
Yeah. So whatever happened when I was getting renewed and remade from a filthy epsilon did not take properly, and I remember being a rebel. My personality was not deleted. Anyway,
so did you pass or fail?
I failed that.
All right, so you get 1 point of tension as you know that there's going to be repercussions for you for openly defying Isaac. In fact, you see some of the cameras that are constantly monitoring the populace turn and lock on to you, so you've got that bad feeling about this, Chewie. So you push through the rest of the market and out into Limbo. There are thick walls that kind of protect the city from Limbo, and as you go through the large gates, you get that smell of Ferrocrete burning, and you just see piles of trash. Like there are large hopper vehicles that are just dumping waste from the city out in heaps, and there
barrel
are
fires. Are there trash barrel fires? Hell yeah!
Dirty urchins. Houseless individuals in fingerless gloves warming their hands over them. What other things are you seeing, Sebastian, as if you're looking down the tip of your nose?
90s future punks. So like pink mohawk, like sunglasses at night by firelight, big wallet chain, like probably a tank top on,
Wait,
that sort of
are
scene.
you talking about Hot Topic or are you describing Limbo?
both.
Is
No,
there a
like
difference? Like that's
think about like the street punks in a 90s movie like Johnny Mnemonic. Like that's what I'm seeing out here in Limbo.
I'm
Yeah.
love it.
picturing the Crow, the punks from the Crow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that vibe for sure. Yeah.
They're swallowing bullet shells because full bullets would just be too much to waste.
Yeah.
If any of you have a D12 handy and would like to roll, otherwise, I'd be happy to roll.
I'll
I
roll
mean-
2d6s and add them together.
I've got a
You could do that.
D12.
Do
Like,
that.
All right, go for it.
5.
5. So, as you are looking at this dystopian just wasteland, you particular, James, catch your eye its movement in one of these giant mounds of trash. You see that it's beginning to tremble and quake at the middle of it, and all of a sudden there's this giant rusty fist that like sticks out of the heap and begins to just dismantle the heap. Something trombles out from the trash and it looks similar to a hippopotamus, but it is just a mechanical behemoth. It just scoops up heaps of trash and a couple of those like ratty 90s urchins in with it and just crunches it with massive jaws.
Cool.
Keeping the streets clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what urchins are good for, is hippo crunching.
In the
They'll be
distance,
Is this thing big enough that we can ram it with the transport?
so it's large, so it would probably do damage to your scarab if you wanted to.
Nah.
If you wanted to take the time, James, you probably could get out of the scarab and try to repair and reprogram it if you wanted
Sure.
control a mechanical behemoth.
Ooh, that
Yeah,
sounds
let's do
fun.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll pull over.
Yeah.
We're picking up. We're building a posse as we go.
All right, so I get my toolkit ready, put on my apron, all right. And I get ready to assess it. And hey, motorbike guy, this is Robert De Niro's voice right now. This is
I
the
hear
best,
it.
this is
hear
the
it and
best
I feel it.
impression of Robert De Niro you've ever heard.
Man, that is the best.
Hey, did Robert De Niro join our podcast?
Surprise, it's Pashke.
wow.
I didn't-
Anyways,
dropped.
I need you to get me up alongside the hippo on your bike. I'm going to jump off and jump onto its back and then reprogram it.
I'm gonna film this.
Good idea.
I would love to know, as you see James beginning his repair, and James, I'm going to need you to make me a tech roll.
Okay.
How you're going to spin this as propaganda that supports the wisdom and the benevolence of not only Isaac, but the system at large.
You want me to do that?
No, I'm sorry. I am just getting everyone. I meant to say Dolores because Dolores is the journalist. I am calling everyone with the wrong name. Thank you. I meant Dolores. James, what did you roll?
James rolled a 6.
All right. So, James, you are fixing this mechanical monstrosity, an ancient thing that was left to rust and decay out here. And so, Dolores, you could make this a filmable moment if you like.
Yes, I would like to film this.
How are you spinning this for propaganda that supports the wisdom and of Isaac?
I am discussing how the industrious citizens of our fair city, imbued as they are with both their free will and their innovation, are harnessing the power of the objects put out here for the betterment of society to reform society into a more perfect Isaac vision.
So the camera pans over to you, James, as you are fixing this very hungry hippo that is just like still masticating like the remnants of like the street urchins that it scooped up in its jaws as you were fixing it. What does this scene look like as you're on top of this?
Well, so James kind of just jumps on and went to grab like any like seam he could to get in there just to get purchase leverage on there. And then after that, he pulls out the screwdriver that's kind of got like a lever action that as he goes down, it spins out the bolts, kind of like, De Niro in Brazil when he was fixing the AC. I know, my impression's impeccable. So
Are you going to zip line out of here, though, is the real question.
yeah, I feel like in the spirit of the character, yes, I should have a zip line. Did we mention it earlier? No,
Let's add that retroactively.
But I do have a mini flashlight. And
Okay.
so I've got that in my mouth as I'm poking around with the wires, ripping out this, like, not necessary. That was, got it. Okay. And just redoing what I can, pull out my Zippo, open it up, start soldering with the lighter because it's what you got. It's got to make do. And I would like to say that the eyes should go from red to like a docile bluish green. Maybe.
Love it. I love it. It's a great scene, and it is going to get much acclaim and keep citizens loyal. And as you are on your bike, Ulysses, as all of this is happening, roll me an instinct check. Eight, and I have diarrhea.
I mean, you're closer than I want to admit.
So it was a 7?
3 under, which would be a 7. I rolled
Okay.
3 under. 3 under. Yeah.
All right. That is awesome. Okay, so as you are panning the environment and looking for threats, you see off in the corner of your eye that there is some type of bombed out hangar, and there is loud music and lights flashing from within it.
That seems fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, serious question though. That does seem fine though, right? Like,
I mean, I'm not
that's
going to
not-
bother with it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't even mention it to the other people. It's like, hey, there's a drug party in the drug party area of town. Like, it's fine. Everyone knows about the drug party town.
Yeah.
So then, James, now that you have repaired this hippopotamus monstrosity, are you going to be riding it as a mount instead of getting back into the scarab? Or are you
Say
going
anything
to be
other than
programming-
yes, we're not friends anymore.
Well, now I feel obligated to riding it, but not as a mount.
How about a steed?
Hmm.
How about like you're
Could-
windsurfing?
Could I? Oh, I like windsurfing. Oh,
How about
man.
as a
Yeah.
hungry Uber?
I was gonna see if I could fashion myself a chariot to be pulled by a mechanical hippo, but
Pretty good.
surfing
Well,
on the
there's,
hippo.
there's like scrap and stuff around, so if you wanted to make a chariot, I'm sure you could. But
You could make it out of orphan bones.
You could
those do
probably
make the
even
best
have, like-
chariots because they're still malleable, right? So you
yeah,
can form
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Depends
orphan
how much-
bones can I get
Because
out of the hippo's
urchins are
stomach?
not getting
It depends
nearly
how
enough
much
How many
oil
orphan
is
bones?
on the orphan bones.
How much
Yeah.
what?
Roll a
Oil.
d20 for orphan bones.
All right, roll
Yeah.
the d20 for orphan bones. Ian, you can't stop me. It's already left my hand.
That was a natural one, you bastard.
Fuck you. Yeah.
There's one orphan bone.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so
Wait.
so
I
what
need
it
to know
is-
which bone.
the skull. He's like riding on top of the skull, obviously. Like
Now, this really has gone from 1984 to Brazil.
You're welcome. I feel like they're not that far off.
I will say
mean-
for the average watcher or listener, if you have not seen Terry Gilliam's Brazil, you
fantastic.
owe it to yourself. It is pinnacle
Yeah.
of cinema.
Yeah. As you can tell, from
Last
my
few
first
minutes of the
impression-
movie will just break your heart. But
Oh, it will. But it's worth it.
It's like by turns hilarious and frightening and grim and just wonderful. Yeah. I did a lot of drugs and watched that movie back in the day.
Oh, that must be terrifying, especially when
I had a good time.
samurai.
Yeah, the
kabuki
samurai was
Oh.
yeah, so good.
So you have an orphan skull, and as you are, I guess, riding on the back of this monstrosity mechanically. You took the time to really lubricate its joints and make it go. It is just a little bit slower than the scarab, but it just trombles by, and you notice that as you are driving this, that it gives a lot of the riffraff here, or epsilon class individuals, a lot of pause. They go out of their way to avoid it. It could be the fact that there is just gore and viscera hanging from its jaws, or maybe this thing has some type of a history that you're not privy to, but people are just not approaching you. You do still get the feeling of being watched from like every corner as you're looking at these broken down buildings, these trash heaps. Everyone seems very painfully aware of your presence, and it weighs down on all of you.
Well, yeah, we don't belong there.
As you are pushing through limbo, I need one of you to roll me 1d12 one more time.
I'll roll one. I haven't rolled one yet.
Yeah, do
Let's
that
do
for me,
10.
Dolores.
It's a 10.
10. So as you are pushing upward, you see that there looks to be like an old abandoned camp. Like it looks just like a campground. Everything is this industrial wasteland from eye to eye. But here are canvas tents, leveled ground. There is a heap of old rubber tires, and it looks like someone with some type of civilization mindedness set this up for some reason.
This is probably where I share with my friends the existence of the wax people.
Tell us more about the wax people, these people who have chosen to wander into the halo unprotected, where they're exposed to dangerous levels of radiation. Why are there terrible levels of radiation anyways around the city?
It's simply
us,
not
Sebastian.
important. It's not important why the radiation is there. What's important is that these chaps decide to go out into it voluntarily. There's an act of rebellion. They want our social services. Do they want us to take care of them for the rest of their miserable existences? No. Yeah, that's pretty much my take on the wax man.
Make me a logic check.
Well, I'm a fucking propagandist, my friend. I think I'm going to fail that every time I roll it. Oh, surprisingly, that's a 7. Let's see how strong I am in the logic.
So for
Yeah, I
you,
passed.
So as you are telling him about the wax people and that don't mind why there's this radiation, you get that intrusive thought, that nightmare that you've been having every night that robs you of that sleep that restores tension. Because you know there's some kernel truth about the history of the city, the history that you're supposed to protect. Do you share any of that truth, or do you squelch it down and protect Isaac in the city?
I'm going to protect Isaac in the city. I'm living the good life in the city. I am a beta level loyalty human. Real life Charles would burn it all down, and like right out there with the wax people, and maybe turn into a beast man. But no, like regrettably, Sebastian is a bit of a tool.
And this is why you're a beta class citizen. You are loyal. You keep everything running. Good for you. Means you feel a little bit of your soul dying inside.
Yeah.
So that means that unless anybody wants to take any action here, you can spend a good couple more hours pushing through limbo and going towards the halo, which you can see as the distance as the sun's beginning to set. If that's a sun, you're kind of outside the artificial climate of Neurocity. There's some type of luminescent haze above, but in the distance, you can see that the horizon is flickering and shimmering and glowing just a bit the darker it's getting out here. Are you taking your Soma, citizen?
I am.
Soma is just like the pill from Equilibrium and other types of dystopian pills, meant to keep the Delta class citizens in line.
If I
So be
may,
a good.
the Alpha, Delta, Gamma class citizen, Soma, all of those are actually taken not from 1984, but from Aldous Huxley's. Yep,
Brave
New
New
World.
World.
I actually that was our going live announcement. Was it's Brave New World meets Cyberpunk.
So the pills in Equilibrium and everything are actually like taken from the Soma that Aldous Huxley invented. And interestingly, for such a guy who's interpreted as being anti-drug, that dude was doing hella drugs. Like, read Brave New World, but also read Doors of Perception by that cat. It's rad.
Yeah. Drugs for me, but not for thee.
Exactly, yeah.
Now take your Soma, citizen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not hearing anyone else wanting to do any actions in Limbo and to challenge forward towards Halo.
I
Is
think
that correct?
taking my Soma counted as an action, but yeah.
Okay, no one has said it. So as night begins to fall, you can see the horizon's getting brighter and brighter. It's as if it is the Aurora Borealis, but coming up from the ground. Everything has a shimmer to it. And
Doesn't
you
one
can
of us
hear-
have night vision stuff?
Oh, I took the goggles earlier.
You should check that stuff out.
Sure, yeah.
Okay,
What do
so
I want to roll to check out stuff with the goggles?
make me an instinct.
Instinct. That's 1 over.
So you are trying to tune the levels, and you're getting a lot of background noise from the radiation. In fact, you're hearing something clicking and grinding coming from inside the hippopotamus. Like there's some type of Geiger counter inside of it, and it is going crazy. It starts as a crackle, and then now it is basically a mechanical roar. The beast itself seems completely unfazed by it, but you're nervously looking at all the seals in your armor to make sure that everything is in place. Every gasket and gorget is locked fast.
Okay. The hippo needs some Pepto-Bismol. All right. I don't think we have that for hippos, especially not mechanical hippos. Does anyone have any 1030 weight oil?
Regrettably, no.
no.
I have something called the Bible of Vitology, which I'm assuming is like that Pearl Jam album.
It's similar. It's a little bit less mumbly and more coherent, but it talks about the principles of vitology, which deal with what it takes to be a good citizen. It's your obedience to the system. It is following orders blindly. It is being productive. It is being industrious. It is never falling in love. It is.
I hate this fucking guy.
Love
I'm
it.
playing. Yeah.
So, Ulysses, are you taking point in motorbike, or what are you doing relationship to the scarab and the hippopotamus?
I told Hampun to follow your lead, John.
I keep calling everyone Sebastian. My God.
All
Yeah.
Sebastian inside.
Everyone is Sebastian.
Yeah,
That should be your second title. Everybody is Sebastian. Sorry, Ulysses. You're on motorbike.
I'm the one that's all hopped up on antibiotics right now. I'm the one who gets the names wrong.
So are you taking points?
Hopped
or
up
are
on
you
antibiotics?
falling back?
Antibiotics really fucked me up. I am I am not. My brain's not
Yeah, they
good.
make me weird too.
right
like,
now.
You would not
Yeah.
like to do improv. I will happily assign it to someone else, unless you want to see
I-
what the drugs do to you.
I mean, it's not. They're not the fun ones.
Done. Lean into it.
Yeah.
I'm.
Let it flow. Let
lean
it
all
flow,
the way
man.
I need a tissue before I let it flow, my dudes.
in.
I thought that was the whole point of taking my Adipoc, so it wouldn't be flowing.
Mhm.
I would probably be. I would probably be taking point with a ham fund riding next to me. I don't other than the clergy dude.
You guys doing wheelie contests?
Yeah, we're doing wheelie contest. But my motorcycle has like a mechanism. My motorcycle is a lowrider motorcycle. I can drop the back. Um,
Do you scrape when you go over speed bumps
well, I
You
could
ride with
also.
no handlebars. No handlebars.
with streamers?
I was thinking about not iced tea. Today was a good day is the song I was thinking of. But you know, we're having a contest, but my motorcycle has hydraulics, which makes it a little bit of an unfair contest. Because I'm just that much cooler. But yeah, I'm in front. I'm taking point is I guess the answer to your question that you asked like 5 minutes ago.
Well then, do you have a D12 handy?
You told us 2d6, my dude.
That's fine. I will roll. I like being able to have you guys roll random tables because it holds me accountable that I'm not making up something. But I will roll.
I rolled an 11.
All right. So as you are doing your wheelies and popping your hydraulics, as you are beginning to cross into this glowing land, you see one of those waxmen that Sebastian warned you about. He is on the ground, like reaching out to you, like laying down. And you see him, like his words are slurred and heavy, but he seems to be asking for water. But he's also Epsilon class.
Hmm.
Well, I don't got no water, so it doesn't matter.
Do you stop to talk with him or just right on?
We're looking for a thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, I'll stop. I'll come to a stop next to him. I I offer him a flask. It is not water. It is whiskey. It is whatever. It's cyberpunk. It's Brave New World cyberpunk whiskey. PM.
PM.
Whiskey PM.
You give him, he's just like gasping for water, and you give him a flask of like,
The opposite,
100 proof
essentially.
whiskey, and he's just like,
It's gonna be fine.
That'll
Just
put
like-
hair on your spines.
That'll put
So
hair on the
it
sores on the
first-
inside of your mouth.
He does the movie scene where he blows it out as like a cloud of vapor, and then looks at it, and like one of his eyes like goes sideways, and then he
Yep,
just like
nailed
latches
it.
onto the flask and sucks it all down. Like
Yeah,
you're
that'll
gonna
do
get
it.
it. And he
Hell
chugs
yeah.
all of it. And
Yep.
like as you look at him,
Yeah.
like you see this liquid like go down into his chest. Like his skin looks like they call them wax men for a reason because their skin is run like wax and it hangs in weird ways. And there are weird
Well,
clusters that are like
I don't need
see
you
the
calling me out,
liquids-
dude.
Do you guys remember that scene in RoboCop where the guy gets dunked in nuclear waste and then
And
goes
then he-
shambling around?
Yeah,
like,
and
all
they get
melting and
smashed.
shit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
did-
what I'm imagining
Yeah.
is like the
Did you
wax
say-
people looking like.
RoboCop, or did you say the Toxic Avenger?
No,
I said-
RoboCop.
I
It's
said
the guy.
RoboCop. Toxie turned out okay.
Yeah,
RoboCop
Melvin's
toxic
fine.
guy. Yeah, RoboCop toxic guy not so much.
Isn't that the dad from that 70s show that gets hit?
I think
I think
you're
so.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
like 80% sure you're right.
yeah.
Hello, Wisconsin. So You see like just the whiskey like burrowing through various weird chambers in his chest, and he coughs and he blinks and he points somewhere at the horizon with a shaky hand, and he says, "There's a temple of ancient technology that way," but in this perfect De Niro like accents.
Oh man. Well, one second. Hold on.
Why is
Actually, could you say that for me so I could hear it?
I'm sorry. I just heard Ian's De Niro impression, and now I'm ashamed. That was
Alright.
so good.
There's no
Wait,
De Niro shaming in this chat.
Yeah.
There's no De Niro shaming in
Okay,
our
well, hey.
podcast.
I didn't
I
know.
want to
Wasn't that
suggest.
good of a De
I
Niro.
want to suggest, Bridget, Charles, your priest Sebastian's voice is perfect, so you don't get to play. But the four of us for the rest of the night are going to do De Niro impersonations.
All right.
So I'll start.
Perfect.
I'd
De
say,
Niro. I've got, like,
here's my
a
De Niro.
mole
Here
on
I
my
go.
face and everything.
Here I go. Thank you. You can keep the flask. Then I get on my bike and I kind of gesture for everyone to follow.
Jeez.
That was spot on.
Not as good as Ian's, but
You
really
hear
fucking
this,
good.
like-
Picture what De Niro sounds like, y'all.
No, I can't.
Dude,
Like,
I'm
it's
having the
erased out
same
of my
problem.
brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Is De Niro
Like,
a real person?
every
Does
time
he
I-
exist?
Effect.
You looking
Every
at
time
me?
I think I've got a grip on him, I realize that I'm thinking of Pacino, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know,
okay.
right?
Yeah, like
Pacino,
Pacino, I
Ron
can
Jeremy,
do.
you know.
And in my head, he
yeah.
just sounds like
Ron Jeremy?
Italian.
Yeah.
Kidding.
You know, in my head, he just sounds like the Italian Abraham Lincoln from Mr. Show. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that sketch, but man,
Yeah, basically. Huh.
As you mount back up, you hear this like whoomph sound, and you realize that the waxed man, like one of those weird gurgling organs, is like caught fire internally because of that
Yep.
whiskey.
No,
He's
that's,
like
it does
like-
that.
frantically trying to like punch his chest to like quench the flames bursting out of like
I
an
point and look,
orifice
yeah.
that none of you have.
Yeah,
I
it'll
think
do
I-
that.
I think the first time I drank whiskey, that's legitimately what I felt like was happening.
It's not inaccurate, is the thing.
Yeah.
That's why you mix it with soda water and maraschinos. I don't know, whatever.
It's
What if
ironic
I want
that
to be a snob?
Or you
Well, it's
becoming a
ironic. I
dog.
wound up a vodka drinker eventually because, like, I never was that into whiskey. It was just too sweet for me. Like, when I wanted liquor, I wanted, like, no bullshitting around.
You wanted like the hydraulic brake fluid that they're always drinking in
Yes,
40K.
exactly. Yes, yeah. If I could get my hands on some of that Iron Warrior shit, I would have been all about it.
Yeah, I like the stuff they brew on Jagoras. I mean that mare's
Didn't
milk.
one of them, like, one of the Iron Warriors said that they, like, also use it to clean
Yeah.
grease off of brake assemblies or something?
Yeah,
And
that was,
I was like,
from
now
Horus
that's
Heresy.
that's a drink.
There's a tequila called Montezuma's Revenge.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Right? I thought
Fucking the worst.
you were gonna say vodka, where it's 50% vodka, 50% tequila.
I
Vodka.
would fight myself.
No,
It's not good.
no.
We'll
So,
cover
Otherwise,
Monster liquor
right in
line,
the nuts.
starting with vodka, because it's the two cheapest alcohols you can actually get produced.
Mhm.
There's a place in Indiana that is the largest, like one of the largest liquor manufacturers in the world, and
Exactly.
one of the main products is just generic vodka that like
Mhm.
companies put their logo on.
Yeah,
If you look at the
And-
bottle of tequila, there's a number on the side that indicates where it was made. 90% of all tequilas in the market, could be a little wrong on that number, but a high percentage are all made by like just so many tequila distilleries, and then just like Casamigos shows up. It's just like, oh yeah, I like that. Put that in that bottle. That's mine now. Okay, but
Funny,
they're already buying that. So,
MGP,
yeah, MGP and whatever else.
Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Now,
One
on
of the
the
largest
other-
producers.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, if you happen to live somewhere with a Costco that actually sells booze, unlike Utah,
Texas.
yeah, like you can get their Costco brand of like vodka or whatever, and it's essentially like Grey Goose that's been relabeled and like the price cut. Like they will only put their store brand on like really good booze and shit, and like anytime I'm going to Wendover, my mom's like, pick me up some, blah 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 blah, like all these different Kirkland liquors because they're apparently really good and really cheap. So
There's a knockoff Tito's as well. With Tito's is also made in Indiana, shipped to Texas, and then distilled and then resold. Actually,
Ian, I have to say this because we've entered a place where I can say one of my favorite things. If you pick up any Boar's Head product, with Boar's Head being considered the high-end deli meat, check out its manufacturing label, because Boar's Head is a fucking marketing company who buys the cheapest shit they can. Oh, I fucking hate Boar's Head so much.
Keep in mind that
I need some Boar's Head ham right now.
We're gonna have to.
I would like to finish my rant. We can cost effectively make this product. Good people. We just put it in.
Vodka, I love it.
Literally, a fun fact. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, because they produce the juice that makes the award-winning whiskeys internationally, produces so much of that now there is a new class of internationally recognized whiskey that is an Indiana rye, because we actually made it. So there is a literal like internationally standard that is because the juice comes from Indiana. So like there's Marvin Corn in Indiana, but you got this direction, Ulysses, of where the temple is supposed to be. Do you communicate that to the rest of your party?
That was way too smooth of a transition, my dude.
It's like Indiana whiskey and vodka and tequila.
And where are you going?
Boar's Head.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I drive up to the Scarab and knock on the window. I write him a ticket.
Can you please do that? Because I like the fact that like I'm never trying to be that old man who's like, my generation is different from your generations, but like literally there are very few people in Gen Z who have been in a car with a roll down window. So can you do that again for the benefit of our viewers? Because that was amazing.
However, I call bullshit because the last car I drove, the thing is just most people are willing to pay $100 to have power windows. I was not willing to pay a goddamn dime for anything. So I didn't have power locks. I didn't have
Thank you.
Is me cranking down the window. Yeah.
It's a beautiful sound.
That's the sound it makes when I crank too.
That is why you're on. I'm just kidding. Antibiotics. All right. So, sorry. Resume. Window rolls down. You give him a ticket.
That's pretty funny. It's like if cops wrote tickets at speed on the highway, I would respect them a lot more.
They do. They deliver them with t-shirt guns.
or like you guys have to pull a very dangerous maneuver where like you pluck it out of his hand like across the two cars or whatever. I love it. Okay, so aside from that, you tell me that the temple's this away.
Yeah. Yep.
And we head that way.
Yep. Sounds good to John. That's what happens. Ian, make it sound like in post. Make it sound like I was really smart and witty there.
We don't have the technology yet. All we have is this De Niro voice modulator.
What are you talking about? It's just AI. We just plug it in. We sympathize John's voice, and then we run it through the De Niro filter, and then you'll sound fine.
The problem is I sound way too much like De Niro already.
All right, I tell you what, guys, I'll make it easier for you. Everybody do your Pesci instead.
Badgers.
All right, hold on. Hold on. Hey, it's me, Joe Pesci.
Oh my God. You're and scene. You are go through the halo, and everything is iridescent. Everything has this odd shimmery glow to it. But the more your eyes adjust to this shimmer, you notice just how everything is crumbling at the molecular level. Everything that looks solid just turns to dust under the tread of your scarab or the tread of your motorbike wheels or hippopotamus.
Point of order, my motorbike trombles.
So
Another
does
gold
that mean
stars,
that
30-year-old stars for the evening.
does that mean that we're not able to move forward, or does it just mean that like rocks and so forth are not very solid?
It just means that you are leaving a very big wake in the earth
Okay.
as you push forward. You can see through the distance there are various buildings, but they are very few and far in between, like distant icebergs in the ocean. Everything has a weird sense of distance to it as you realize that your eyes itself have a hard time grasping to things, as if reality is warped under the stress of everything. As you are going along through here, you notice that there is a odd shadow that is above you that seems to be blotting out the glow. It looks like a giant bird is circling above you.
Well, we have shotguns, but those are like bird shots for small birds, not giant birds, and I don't think we want to try anything from. How
I got
far
it.
overhead is it?
I got like a real gun.
First off, I would like all of you to make me a logic check.
Mine passed. I got a 4.
I think I failed. Yeah, I
If
did.
it meets it,
It beats.
all right.
So
So
hypothetically,
you don't need
Like-
to bargain this one. It's not that big of a deal.
okay, I passed. I
Save
needed
your
to bargain.
Now I know how to defeat him.
John
so,
Baltusberger, hard bargainer.
Dolores, you have
Sometimes.
been exposed to lots of interesting information on the various stories that you've told. And there have been times you've had to give cautionary tales to people to kind of keep them in their place, to make sure they don't wander out into limbo and into Halo. So you are familiar with what this thing is that is circling above you. And you know that it's Abaddon. A
The spoiler?
kind
The,
of.
the pit, probably.
No, it is a gigantic condor-like creature that stalks Halo. Its deafening scream can drive men and people crazy, and its claws can drag a vehicle and toss it from the sky.
That sounds
Yeah.
like nothing we need to fuck with, especially.
Is it real or is
You
it mechanical?
know, and maybe Sebastian would know, but why this creature exists and this anathema unto itself, you know that somehow it's linked to the origin of Neurocity, but no one has recorded exactly why. So yeah, it is circling above you. So yeah,
So it definitely
you're
sees us.
fucked. Yes.
Okay.
So
Guys, I think we should
Um,
evacuate the vehicle. I've seen these things before, and they can basically pick up our car and just crush it and drop it again. So
And then, I'll just make up some lore on the spot. Why not?
yeah.
These feathery sons of bitches are what prevented the first attempt to evacuate Neurocity. Did I say evacuate? I didn't mean to let that slip. There have never been any attempts to evacuate the area.
So if you are abandoning your vehicle, you can see that in the distance where Ulysses kind of mentioned what the Waxman said, that tallish, big square building is likely the temple that you're designated to look at. But there are various craters and other things that you can try to duck into if you want, or you can make that beeline towards the big building.
I say we make a beeline for it.
I smack my hippo on its robotic butt.
It doesn't seem to respond in any way other than just trundling forward.
You know, hippos are surprisingly fast. I just want to say that.
Yeah, terrifyingly fast.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna stink eye a little bit.
They kill a lot more people than like crocodiles and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. So some of you abandon your vehicles, but you are riding your hippo to glory.
Yes.
Are you Sebastian, are you telling Hamfun to stay on bike or to dismount?
What is John gonna do? I think that both John and Hamfund are. I think that actually, like, I'm gonna ride with Hamfund, and John should, like, Bridget. I think that your character should ride with John, so that we can abandon the larger vehicle, hopefully giving it something to snack on, and then do the rest of the distance on hippopotamus and motorcycle. What do you guys think?
As all of you are waiting, are kind of equivocating and troubling with fear, you're still standing there as the condor is circling, and you see that it opens its giant mouth that is almost canyon-like as it extends. And in fact, in the odd, still quietness of this place, you hear it almost sounds like a drawbridge beginning to open and yawn open, and it unleashes this terrifying scream that sounds like multiple overlapping terrible sounds. Two of you tell me what these sounds are that overlap as it screams.
Dial up 28.6 dial up.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And it is that times two. You hear
No.
multiple.
Could it also be jazz flute?
Yes.
Snake
Can we hear what that would
jazz.
sound like?
Hey, I'm a jazz flute here.
I was going to ask if we could hear jazz flute played by Robert De Niro.
So it makes that terrible sound, and it shimmers the haze around you. The light itself buckles under the sonic disruption of its scream. I need all of you to roll me a personality check.
I feel that
Actually,
one.
yeah, no,
automatically.
yeah, go ahead. No, make it we'll make it as logic. 'Cause,
That's good, because I think I pass a logic one. Personality, I'm not sure I would have. Oh yeah, either way I would have been fine. Okay.
I passed my logic.
okay,
I also passed.
Ulysses. Now the bargaining begins. Ulysses is on mute.
Let's say for funsies that I failed.
For funsies, all right. And then what about for ham fund? Who wants to roll a generic roll for ham fund?
Can
It's
I roll
only right
one of
in-
Ham Fun's
Okay.
die?
He failed.
Ah,
Oh,
tragic.
So the two of you are on motorbike, and you are split and hear that deafening, terrible roar. Both of you get a point of tension. So your threshold was on your character sheet. Once you pass that, that is when something bad happens. So you're at 2 points there. So you're 1 point to max. We will just say for funsies, Ham Fund begins to gibber and go mad. He has had
That
a
is fun.
difficult life, and he was forced into service by Sebastian, and this is not a good day for Ham Fund. Why don't you, since Sebastian, you work his handler, why don't you roll me to see what happens to him? Give me a 1d6.
Let's see. That's a good old-fashioned 2, my friend.
Fund has a panic attack. You could hear over his Vox speed that he is hyperventilating. He is freaking out. He feels like the world is collapsing in on himself, the bird diving down towards him, and he takes his helmet off. And as you see, like in this terrible slow-mo, as he takes off his helmet, like a terrible flame is by his head, and his skin begins to melt like wax. His like ear just bubbles off, his flesh just runs off his face, exposing his bones.
Damn.
And you just hear him just like gurgling in as like his own flesh is sloughing inward into his chest. And he is just nonstop screaming. So as he's just out there screaming his head off, do you tell him anything, or you just let him be buzzard bait?
Me, since I'm right there with him.
Yeah, you can. I was gonna say Sebastian's his handler, but you're next to him. Either one of you want
Yeah.
to tell him something, you're more than welcome to.
Nope. Them's the breaks.
I'm gonna tell him my axiom because I think it's completely appropriate right here. Hang on. We all must endure sacrifices.
So with that, you hear Abaddon make this like the sound of 1,000 sails snapping, and it dives down towards the poor screaming Ham Fund and just takes him up wholesale, bike and all. And you hear this crunching sound as he flies off, or it flies off with a Ham Fund in his gullet. And you're pretty sure that until that like fox bead is dissolved by its stomach acid, he's screaming the entire time.
Fine.
See, that's commitment. I like that on his part. You know, didn't give up easily. He went down tough.
All right, so you got a few moments time before maybe Abaddon circles back. You see the temple standing in the distance.
Like, how distant a distance could we make it there before it circles back?
That's a good thing. Distance and reality here is kind of folds in on itself. You think you could get there.
What do you guys think?
I think we should try.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
still
that's going to be a short game if we don't.
Hmm.
Fair enough. Yeah.
As per the book, it is a surreal paradise of imprecise dimensions that continue as far as despair and determination will allow it. So yeah, you think you could probably make it.
Well,
make
I mean, I happen to know that hope is totally something that pans out always. So I think we should totally go for it.
Yeah.
Did that physically hurt you to say?
No. There was enough sarcasm to insulate me.
All right, so it sounds like the four of you are making a beeline then?
Yeah.
All right, so you are going in a straight line towards the building. At first, it seems to be getting further away as you're going forward, but you see in the distance Abaddon beginning to circle back around, and it flaps its wings, and as the wind goes through your field of vision, it ripples that radiation in front of you, and it seems to bring everything closer. And you see that you are pretty close to making it to that building. How all of you make me an instinct check, or one of you make it for the entire scarab.
Oh, I'm not in the scarab, so I'll make my own.
Yeah.
Oh,
Six.
yeah, I was on the hippo.
I also got a 6, which is good. For me.
6
Okay.
it is.
Sounds like all of you have passed. Was that a pass for you, James? It is. It's a pass for all of you. So you're able to
Nope,
push.
I rolled a 10.
Okay, so great.
And,
so some of
yeah.
you get to the safety of this large building,
And John's just
it's,
like kicking it out there in the wilderness?
Yep.
just not moving
Because
as fast.
hey, I'm a real man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man.
So this building is about a city block in dimension. Considering that everything else is basically kind of crumbled, except with some other buildings in the distance, the fact that this building has stood is really odd. As a quick aside, what are some of the other odd defining features of this giant building?
A
The
mouth.
gargoyles are facing the wrong way.
So it's
I
got
like that.
Philips Hue light bulbs, but like someone sat on the remote, so it's constantly changing colors, but not like in a cohesive, pretty way. Just more like it randomly turned blue. Oh, now it's strobing. Oh, blue again. Red, different color of red. Back to just white.
But
So-
that shows.
So when
that
was the
there's an
last time
energy
that happened to you,
source inside.
Pashki?
So there are some third-party apps that if you aren't paying attention to their settings, will just affect every light in the house. And so you'll just be sitting there while, your partner's on their phone, just seeing what happens in the bedroom when they try to make it to a thunderstorm, and
Wow.
so the entire house becomes a thunderstorm.
I love that. So that shows, though, that there is an energy source indeed within the building if those lights are going. So this is the correct place that Dying Waxman gave you the truth. So you were able to drive your vehicles inside this kind of large bay door. It looks like the doors have been blasted off the hinges themselves. And yet, Ulysses, you're trailing behind and you're seeing Abaddon closing in more and more, and it looks like it's beginning to open its maw again.
I'm sure it's fine.
In fact, one tire falls out of its mouth as it does that. Since you are in rear, do you want to do anything to interact with the condor, or do you want to get back into that building?
I pull out my Peacemaker. It's listed as a 44, but it's actually a 43 and 7/8.
Is that what you tell them?
Really hard to
No.
find it. Really fucking hard to find.
Really hard to find the ammo. I have to buy 44s and just find them a little bit.
It's like that Naked Gun movie.
Yeah, 44 and the
33 and a
3/3.
third, yeah. Or 2.5, I think, yeah.
And I kind of spin it. No, Peacemaker spin. I don't know, guys. I do the cool gun thing with whatever gun I have in my hand, whatever kind of gun it is, and I say,
Like your
my
shotgun.
my axiom is, we're going to have a fucking problem. Which I asked the Condor.
I love that. So you're
Can I roll to intimidate the demon beast?
Go ahead and make me a personality check.
These dice are not rolling to go for me tonight, buddy.
I love it.
Time for dice jail.
Rolled a 9.
So you try to stand your ground and act cool.
I do stand my ground and act cool. It doesn't go well for me, maybe, but I do it.
So you spin the barrel of your gun and you give the worst De Niro impression you have ever given.
That's fair.
And what does that sound like?
You know what? I'm going to actually do a Clint Eastwood impression.
Hello, it's me, De Niro.
Are you feeling lucky? Well, are you, bozo?
All right, so Abaddon is a giant bird and doesn't give a shit and just keeps coming right towards you.
That seems unrealistic.
I don't buy
I mean,
this.
you roll
Yeah,
the
actually, I would
9.
think a giant bird would give giant shits. Like,
Actually, birds don't shit. They give that, like, what's that called? It comes to their cloaca. It's a
urine.
mixture.
it's urine and
It's urine and poop together.
Yep,
It has a name. I forgot what it was.
Not
I
delicious.
forget what it is.
Oh
No,
my god, I was about to say that. That's so weird. On the same wavelength. All right.
Guano?
Slurry.
Guano.
It's not. No, it's from bats. So,
No, it's also from birds because there were guano wars where islands
Yeah.
were taken over in the Pacific Ocean because of bird shit.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with
more
guano.
you know.
Yeah.
All right, so quick montage. So what happens here as you're standing down the bird? All right, we'll do this quick. Bird's diving in. Are you wanting to make an attack, dodge out of the way, or get into the safety of the building?
Can he roll to shriek for mercy?
Well, no, here's my question. Here's my
Drake to be the
question.
bird.
If I die out here, will I still be renewed or reborn?
You did fail your last citizen test, and you also just knifed an enforcer in the neck on the way out of the city.
No, I did not. That's a lie. It was his eye
And
socket.
You might not have also supported another enforcer in the line of duty when he was in distress. Yeah, you're gonna get reborn, buddy. You're gonna get wiped.
Hell, as good as it went
Real
last time.
time.
I will run towards the temple while firing. into
All right,
the air.
make me a violence check.
Perfect. I rolled bad. I rolled let's
Real bad, Ma.
let's say
New rule.
I
Anytime
do-
John says, let's say, it's an
I-
automatic crit fail.
No, it's automatic. You have to take a shot. But it is important in this case, knowing your tension and what you rolled. Did you roll a double one?
what if
No. It's a yes or no.
Dracula.
It's a yes or no because there's a specific rule that comes into play if you roll a double one in this instance. And so if it's not, it's not. I just need to know.
well it's technically not a double one because my
Okay.
ones have little hands on them. So it's really like if you look at it, it's more of a 10 than a 1.
Mm.
So
It's not
that's all I'm
as
saying.
GM. Is it a double one or not? I don't
It's
know.
a double one.
I'm just making sure here. So
If
basically,
you wait to hear it
because
from
you-
him,
We will be
because
here
you-
all night.
That's my point. I will make this quick because this is interesting. Basically, because you fail in this situation and you're going to be maxing out your tension and you roll double ones, you become a tracer. So you fail so hard in this context that you develop psychic powers related to the check that you just botched, which was violence. So
Oh,
you can
shit.
psychically assault people now. Every time you do that, it will raise your tension score. So that will basically cause you to get more and more psychotic. But yeah.
worth it. In fact, I go so far as to call that a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
The rest
Telekinesis that makes you a psychotic? Like, that's icing.
So basically, you're gonna shooting wildly, but you're shooting mind bullets at Abaddon, and Abaddon's circles off.
I'm gonna do my perfect Jack Black impression
That's
now.
Telekinesis
Mind
style.
bullets.
Yes.
So the
That's
rest of you are
telekinesis style.
inside the safety of the giant facility. And this is the place that you're supposed to be finding out if there is a imminent threat to the city or if there might be something that could be harvested to cure the energy crisis. So as you first enter into this giant building, the first thing that you see is like a oversized lobby, as if there were other almost like exhibits or something in this area. And in the center, there is a visitor's kiosk. And kneeling in front of it are 4 wax men that seem to be worshiping an old CRT monitor. Or maybe it's a whole computer. It's hard to tell. But they're kneeling in front of this receptionist desk and just like abasing themselves.
How many of us have guns?
All of you, except I couldn't quite tell if James actually is packing or not.
You know, it hasn't come up till now. And honestly, you know, maybe James is a pacifist. I'm just going to fix hippos. I have a hippo. What do I need a gun for?
That's a good
That is
point.
a
You do have a
very
hippo.
valid point.
Mhm.
You should have your hippo kill these dudes real quick.
And the
Yeah.
hippo spits bullets too.
I have my hippo Tromble from behind them. And
Trombled all over them.
I just say to them,
They got trombled underfoot.
you're looking at my hippo here? You're looking at my hippo? You better have duck on that thing if you're looking at my hippo. And that's when I go, hippo, yip, just like the hero
Appa, yeah.
said. What's an appa?
You're right.
So yeah.
You use your hippo to attack the waxmen. And since we are close on time, instead of doing lots of extra rolls, you basically just waka snap each of these waxmen in half with your souped up hippo monstrosity.
So like I can see the hippo going forward like with its mouth. You know?
Yeah, it's just the sound of just one of those hungry hippos getting feverishly smacked by a
Clackety
7-year-old
clackety
trying to
clackety.
get all the
Yep.
marbles.
Yep.
So you have
Such a stupid game to give children.
Yeah, but you know what? As a kid, I loved the shit out of it, and I don't even care. I will not apologize.
Yeah, no, I did too, and I broke it real fast. All right.
You have on either side of this receptionist desk doorways into rooms beyond.
The store?
Beyond.
Bed Bath & Beyond is going out of business, guys.
Oh, rooms beyond the furniture store?
That's good news for me, 'cause I'm gonna go pick up some of them savings.
There we go.
Let's see. So, beyond the CRT monitor, we're inside, and there are how many doors?
2. Going deeper into the facility.
Who has a coin to flip?
Oh, I actually do.
Ooh. I was going to say it.
All right, pick the door, flip the coin.
All right. So one side has a skull, one side has a number. I know what it is, but someone else call it.
Okay.
Death.
Yeah, death. Let's call it
Death. It was a 1, so it landed the opposite.
Okay. Let's say that we take the whatever is the rightmost path then.
Okay. So, ignoring the computer and the CRT module and whatever's on the wax people, you go to the door on the right and you enter into a large cavernous room. You see, like, this is a sports arena sized room with giant columns that run up that are made of rusted metal that support the ceiling. You see that despite all of the degradation outside from the force of radiation, everything feels oddly very firm and secure. And as you step foot into this space, you feel somewhere underneath you like a thrumming of just like raw power. This entire cyclopean space itself seems empty, but you see that there are bolts and rivets in the floor where there were devices or machines or something. Towards the center of this room, there is a large square hole that leads downward, and you hear this rhythmic thumping, grinding sound. At the end of this chamber, it looks like it continues and goes into another space beyond like a very large set of double door hangar doors.
A continuous thumping, grinding sounds more like power source than existential threat to me, but what do you guys think?
I could see it happening either way, but I have mind bullets, so whatever.
Good point.
I think that's just like the best way to like be nonplussed by anything. Yeah, but I got mind bullets, so whatever.
yeah.
So what,
Shit
I'm getting
is
audited
handled.
by the IRS for tax evasion. I got mind bullets or whatever.
Being a
way.
giant bird.
I bet more than one person who was in shit with the IRS thought they had mind bullets. Like,
I like that. That seems like something out of a Graham McNeil novel.
yeah.
All right. So,
All right.
what are the rest of you doing? And then we can call it for time.
I would venture down.
Down.
Yeah, I'm going out like a king. I'll venture down. And do I have anything up my sleeve? No, I don't. I kind of want to. We should have visited my little flat in the White District and like done some cool drugs or whatever, or played my Game Boy. But nah. That's right. I have a
And I'm
Game
going
Boy
to
with
continue
1d6
covering
games.
Everyone on their way heading down.
What would you say?
So I'm going to continue covering this journey of everyone.
So, as you descend into the bottom layer of this, wherever this ancient technology is that poses such a threat to Isaac, or perhaps a potential saving of the city, what would your final broadcast be as you descend into this place and you find some type of terrible truth about the existence of the city and the world itself?
viewers, I know that I've brought you many important stories over the years, life-changing, just, you know, the real blood and guts of this city. But here, I find myself almost at a loss for words, seeing the terrible secret of how we were founded, where this all came from, why we all grow strange tumors, where all the radiation comes from. I'm going to let you see for yourself here in our final moments before we sign off. This is Dolores Schopenhauer for 462 News.
Another person that is going to be reborn for sharing truths that they probably shouldn't. I love it. So with that, you will descend into the bowels of this place and find out what that is. And that's where we'll leave off for tonight. Now, one of the things that I really do appreciate about this book is not only are there random tables that to tell you about the personality of Isaac, but there are also tables to help you decide what the terrible truth is about the city and its origin. Like the nightmares that you're having, Sebastian. Or what are bits of heretical lore, like if you would have interacted with that computer kiosk the Waxmen are worshipping. There's tables for that. So it's neat because every time you play this, there could make something radically different. And yes, what are the options? And one of the option I rolled was very much a Shell Beach situation. So
Cool.
it's pretty cool. So I encourage all of you to check this out while it is still being kickstarted. You can still buy the original version of the book, or you can kickstart the colorblind edition that has more art and more editing and content that's been added to it, which is really neat because there's a lot of lore here and a lot of really cool things, because this is a decided spin on the cyberpunk tropes that are very popular now, but brings in a lot of that classic literature elements that you're talking about with like Huxley and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So why don't we go ahead and transition back to normal Space Moon and we can do our announcements.
Friends, thank you for once again joining us on this episode. No, wait, hold on. That's
no,
not,
I was
that's
say,
not
no
what I say
announcements.
there. Hold on. Oh, right. Hello and welcome once again to Wandering Monster America's Test Table, where we don't play test games, we stress test Ian's patience. My name is, well,
what is
it depends on what you need my dice rolls. You told me to you told me to lean into it.
Yep. I did.
And here the fuck we are, my friends.
Here we go.
Man, it's already been a wild summer. We are doing our best here, and by best I mean
we have new releases from Madness Hard Press for you to check out. Second batch of pocketbooks are up, which include titles by Douglas Ford, Lucas Mangum, this
there's
guy,
that really handsome guy. Oh, yeah,
and also who am I forgetting about? Of
Max
course,
Bauman,
Graven Images, which looks great. We've also got our newest Trigger Warning anthology. If you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to. Curses, very good. I don't think that's been getting enough love so far, so go check that out.
It's a really good collection too.
Yeah, learn about some new authors that you don't know yet. Killer Con 2023 is coming up in August, so go get your tickets today. Taking place in scenic Austin, Texas. That will be on the 13th and 14th of August, and will feature people including Wrath, James Wright. Let me know what some of the other guests are.
Bridget and I will be there.
Yep.
We also have, in gaming news, Philip Reed, acclaimed game designer and Morkborg designer. We've played his games and we've touched his stuff before. He's one of our guests of honor.
Nice.
Yeah. So you can find the details and register for that at killerconaustin.com. We also have a couple of releases coming up this month, y'all. Specifically, let me just glance over here. We have The Trick by Douglas Ford. If you're not familiar with Douglas Ford, he writes insanely cool folk bizarro. which is not a phrase I use often, but he begged me to call his stuff folk horror. I was like, no, you write Bizarro, and then I slapped him. He writes great books. He was one of our first gets when we published the reattachment, currently out of print, but that I don't know if that's going to stay true for very long. And he also wrote Little Lugosi, which is incredible. If you haven't checked that out, it's about a woman who falls in love with a leech while her boyfriend fights a primordial boar monster. And then we also have serious face for a minute. We also have a collection from Jay Wilburn coming this month. It is going to be the first full-length manuscript from Jay since his passing. It is a previously self-published anthology that never saw mass release called Beautiful Darkness. Jenny and I talked about his widow Jenny and I talked about it, and this release, Beautiful Darkness, contains the story that was initially what he was nominated for a Splatterpunk award for, and I met Jay because he was nominated for that award at KillerCon 2019. So this is a just insanely important book to me, and Jay was a hell of an author, so incredibly important. Also, kind of a guerrilla release. We are attempting to put out 2 Wrath James White books this month. Will it happen? I don't know.
Who knows?
But Wrath James White, our newest author to join the group, is the guest of honor at StokerCon in June. So we're going to try to get some books in hand for that. And we also have just solidified our schedule for 2024. We have our very first nonfiction book by Charles Bernard coming out. We have some stuff from authors we've worked with, like Jeff Oliver and Michael Allen Rose. But we also have a lot of new stuff from authors that are new to the scene, and we're super excited to bring some really twisty, cool shit to y'all. Finally, I got notice from the makers of like the fabrication company that's making Odd Gobs that the big shipment of Odd Gobs landed at the fulfillment center today.
Nice.
So yeah, I was actually talking to Charles before the show. I was grumbling about it, and I got a text just a couple hours ago. So those will I believe the plain zine plain print edition is going to be shipped, like it'll get there in the next couple of days, and so fulfillment for that should start pretty quickly. I'm really excited, and then I will also have some copies on hand. I will be selling them at I don't remember the I think the Kids of Horror event that's this weekend in San Antonio. And then Roland and I will both be at Staples, the Tabletop Staples Expo on the, what day, baby? The 3rd, June the 3rd. So,
and Kings of Horror are at Wonderlands of the America Mall in San Antonio.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
It's a lot. If you're in Central Texas, like check both of those things out, and also go to the Ghoulish Bookstore where you can buy a lot of the books from Madness Heart Press. We did the grand opening last weekend, and it was incredible. And the booths are fantastic hosts and are really excited to share horror with the world. Yeah, we're going to keep doing game stuff. We're going to keep playing games. We're going to keep making games. We're going to keep talking about games. So if you enjoy that, follow us on Twitter, especially at OneMoncast. Maybe subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find us on audio format wherever you get your fucking podcast. There we go. I got it out.
People who are listening to just podcasts only, I like to point out that it wasn't until just now, when John keeps flailing in his seat, that his shirt says, "I am here to eat all the pickles."
Yeah, I
seems great after going through the Halo.
I am extremely against getting souvenir shirts except for this one shirt, which I adore.
Yeah.
I want to, which my stepdad got from a pickle stand on New York corner. So our intro and outro music is Barbaria by Bog Wizard off the album Purple Miasmic Smoke.
And today is Harlan's birthday.
Happy birthday, Harlan. Harlan
Don't
is the
sing it.
drummer from Bog Wizard. Hey, if you go to their big cartel site, which is linked in our show notes always, you could maybe get the limited edition Frog in a Bog, Frog Lord Bog Wizard split. As soon as they ship out pre-orders, they will put whatever is left over on sale. So do that. Also, you can get amazing like show posters and shit and merch signed by them. They're really cool guys, and you should check them out. Thank you, Gavriel. So I do it Hebrew style. Gavriel. Thank you, Gavriel. Thank you, everybody, for all your support, all your love. It's really bizarre that we get to do this, but I love it. Thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey that we call Wandering Monster. I have been really just fucked up by antibiotics.
I've been Charles R. Bernard, and just fucked up by the usual stuff.
I'm Bridget Brave, and I'm all fucked up on life.
My name is Ian Servas, and I've been fucked up by Isaac, the intelligent singular artificial consciousness that rules our society with an iron fist and speaks in black and white metaphors.
Yep.
I have been the best Robert De Niro impersonation ever, and a therapist does not have the time to go over with all the things to keep me fucked up.
We will be back next week. Until then, whatever fucks you up, have fun with it.